Okay, hello everyone. So welcome to our first lab session, ACIA.com, lab number one, where we basically introduce the Huawei VRP and configuration basics. Um, with the Huawei VRP, we introduced the operating system, which is used to give commands to the devices. If you want to set up your network, you have to communicate with that operating system. We have a couple of levels that we have, modes that we have, system view to be specific. I think it was part of the the things that we touched on, particularly VRP. With this lab, I'll just briefly go through, I think, the necessary things that you need to know. It ain't much. It ain't much. Quickly going through the objective. At the end, if you understand meaning of the command line rules, how to access them, exit, understand common commands, understand how to use command line online help, learn how to negate a command and use my shortcuts. I think you also learn how to work with ENSP. Be reminded, Bangladesh station is always good to be mute. It's always good to be mute. Right. So I was saying it's also a session with ENSP. How do you set up a topology? How do you log in via the console? How do you start to do the basic configurations? So for our topology, we're going to deal with this one. A very simple topology in a PC and a router. And for step number one, theater the logging in. So it's a very simple concept. I know my routers here. Some of the routers that are up, for those who are smart enough, we have already figured. I think as our images, if you try to run them, are now operating system. So you have to load my operating systems as well. But I think this one by default, rather the router, it already has an operating system in the there. So I could just drag my computer's angle to and many. That's where my connections are different type of mediums, media that we have here. So I can choose this one and to connect to um, the post that I want to connect. Then in the connect also the console cable. There's a difference between the console cable and the Ethernet one. One day data transfer, the other one is to log in into a device. All right, so after you log in, you can start my devices ARCO. Then basically, you can enter uh, the router via the console. This is how you log in. Right, there we go. Hapo router itatopinda my user view of our Huawei device. It's a very simple process. Right, now going to Okay, going to, how do I do this? All right. Uh, Now going to the next steps. Let me see. Fortunately, ndakavhura a number of operating systems for now. Right. So step number one done. Step number two, display the basic device information, display version. You can just follow up. Kana mshita ma labs, you can just follow up my steps and see kuti unongori kuudzwa kunzi uite sei and what are the outputs of what you're trying to do. So we're going to skip displaying version or maybe just do it display version. Uh, Inongoku display the version of the system that we have. Display version, a simple command. So here we have version 5.110. It's a basic command that we have there. Right. Might as well introduce Engaren's help, online help. This is how you have your online help. With a question mark. So if you just put a question mark, you get a list of all the commands. Dzaunokwanisa kuisa in a specific view. So for example, my user view commands, as you can see by now, user view commands. There's a question mark. These are the user view commands. In this view, these are the set of commands that you can have. Very simple concept. Then kana uchida kubuda view imomo system view unokwanisa buda open that in another view. This one has two: the user view, the system view, and other sub configuration. Okay, sub views, sub configuration modes, Cisco language, system view. We can then question mark online help. These are the set of commands that we can have currently in system view. Or I got one day. All these commands, we can have them currently in system view. The specific ones that we want to change the name of device radio. You can use the system command to change name of our device. So I'm gonna type in sys, be, excuse me. Be reminded of my shortcuts area as well. We have my shortcuts atinokwanisa kushandisa. We have auto completion atinokwanisa kushandisa. For example, there is a tab, it can automatically complete a given command. Or ukutongwesa sys like this. I don't think there's anything else. That could be a shortcut. So datacom router, that's our sys name. So you can see we already don't have a change a name. These are the basic things that you can do. Fast tracking. So we've already done step number 3. We've done my shortcuts. Here we have my shortcuts. We have question mark Irushan underscore here. You have tab Irushan underscore for auto completion. We have a question mark being used here as well. I'm going to skip all this. Then I'm going to go directly to inputting an IP address. How do you input an IP address on an interface, right? So you enter the interface according to this command. You enter the interface, gig Ethernet interface 001 in this case, but panapa I'm not so sure. Interface ready 000. So nokwanisa upinda interface iroro. Interface gig Ethernet 0/0/0. You can see view yedu yabva yaenda kuinterface view. Then from there unokwanisa kuita import your IP address. IP address yedu is 192.168.1.1. You can also resolve what next to do. You can always put a question mark in Obama options. What exactly you need to do. So you have an option, a prefix length. You also have an option, a subnet mask. So if prefix length yedu or subnet mask yedu is okay, in this case prefix length is 24. Can I add 24? I can either put 24 here, my command will work, or I can put 552.5.0. I think this will work as well. Right, because you have two options here with the subnet mask. You can either put the prefix length or the subnet mask itself. I think the prefix length much faster if you want to deal with that. Right, so that is IP address for interface redo. What else do we need? Display this. Display this displays the current running configurations in a given view. Does it work here? So I can say display this. Right. It will about in this interface in the IP address here is well. Uh, that's our IP address basically. Is that interface up? Configurations have changed. Yeah, usually after you input an IP address, there is a command that enable a link. Okay. For Huawei devices, I think soon as you put in IP address, the link is enabled because he is saying it's not shut down. But I would say shut down. I'll shut down the link, then undo shutdown. That's basically enabling the link. Then we have commands that negate. Uh, can we say oppose that negate everything? If you shut down a link, if you want to, uh, if you don't want to shut it down, if you want to enable it, then you just use undo. Undo, that's the command in Machine to negate almost everything in Huawei devices. So undo is a very key word in Machine to negate. Right, IP address tracer, there it is. Undo keyword to negate a command, we use undo, like what we just did with undo shutdown. All right, display current configurations in system view. We have another command which displays the current configurations that we have. Ndikaenda remuview reinterface iro ndikaisa display current, you realize that command error, it doesn't exist. Error unrecognized command. What we need to learn is there commands. Commands anoita in a specific view. Panama commands anoita in specific views. Panama one anoita probably like display this. I think it works almost in any view. But Panama commands anoshanda in specific views. Ukabuda view imomo, you won't be able to use that command. So here I wanted to display the current. We have display component instead. Display current. Do we have it? Actually, we have it. Display current configuration is working. These are the current configurations that we have. So this is one of those commands which actually works in all, maybe not all, but in specific views, if not all of the views. These are the current configurations that we have. You can see the only one near the editor is this one near the editor and interface. Then I think we changed the name of the device, sysname. There it is, sysname. I saw it somewhere there. So as you practice, you just practice, go through the commands, voice a command right and see what it outputs. Yeah, you actually learn by practicing here. Why this is important? Exam ready, understanding some of these commands will be, not will be, it will actually be very much needed because unotobvunzwa kuti system view there's a command here, what does it do? So knowledge of that will be very much needed. Save the current configuration of the device. We could save, let me see, save ES from user view. Let me see if it works in this view, just to test my commands when I share in specific views, like save, I share in this view. So I can exit this. Let me try in system view. In system view, I share as well. So save on the works current user view. That's when you can save my configurations here. Look, are you sure you want to save them? Yes, I'm sure we have saved my configurations here. So these are the basics. This is how you go through a lab. Very simple. I think in 10-15 minutes, basic configurations done. There isn't much we need to do here. Then we can perform file system operations. Here we're just trying to see the files that we have in different directories, different folders. So you can see as a directory. These are the files that I have. Operating system in again, right, operating system, there it is. Yeah, code is an issue. That should be the operating system of of device ready, of router ready. So directory basically shows us what are the files that we have on our device. Very important to take note of the first one and running an operating system here. And basically that's it. Display startup, restart device, we're not going to be doing that. Appendix, system function keys, these are some of the shortcuts that we have. You learn by practicing. If you do not practice, then it is what it is. Um, Lab number one done. Any questions? Zero questions. Thank you very much. Right. We go to lab number 2.1. We did IP addressing, we did routing, both static and OSPF theory-wise. In this lab, the objectives: learn how to configure an IPv4 address on an interface. We've already done that. Understand functions of loopback interfaces. A loopback interface is basically an interface which is used to test functionality of our device or functionality of the TCP/IP protocol. We are not going to configure this. The same way we configure an interface is the same way we configure a loopback interface. Then we are going to understand how direct routes are generated. We're going to show a couple of routes, and we're also going to deal with my static routes to configure my static routes, test for connectivity, learn how to configure static routes and understand the applications. Okay, we are going to do this one. So basically here, what we're going to do, we're going to take a network, this topology, we set it up, we configure my interfaces, necessary interfaces. We also configure static routing so that we can be able to interconnect remote networks. Right, setting up our topology, very simple. Let me remove this. So let's say we already have one router. Well, let's just remove this. Let's remove everything. No big deal. So let's have three routers. Router 5, router 6, and router 7. Let me try by all means get some connections the same as Angaripa here. So we have 3 3 on the left, 4 3 on the right, 1 1 below, 3 3 1 1. So here my connections here, they're saying giga interface 3, then 3 here, then 1, then 1 here, then here I have 4, I think. Do I have 4 here? I don't have 4. So it's probably another type of router that is being used there. 4 3. Let's just find something here. Let's have 2 and 3. All right. So that's our topology. Um, if we had time, I could have put a network here, which is probably a local area network. I can get on this end, even on all these networks, so that we can then later test for connectivity if needed. Regarding the lab to not would that be necessary? Right. Roadmap, configure IP addresses, configure static routes. We're going to do that. Step number 1, basic device configuration. We are skipping that. You have to learn how to. There's a lot that I skip about basic device. We only did the host name. The name of the device. You need to set up my passwords for the console, even for the virtual lines. You need what else? You need to set up services for Telnet or SSH. It's part of the basic configurations. If we have a router, you need to configure the visual interfaces. It's part of the basic configurations that you need to do. It's just knowing the commands. One way of knowing the commands, this is what I usually did. This is what I did, particularly this Huawei datacom thing. Right. These are the set of commands that I have for commands, display version, and a brief description of what that command does. If you have this, ukaita lab ukapractice, you probably won't need to kuramba uchidzokorodza zvinhu very, very simple. You can just go through some of these commands and keep brains in very up to date with the set of commands that you basically need to do. These are the few that I have. Anokwanisa kuwanda kupfuura ipapo. Right. Step number one, like I said, basic configurations. Let me see. This system name, that's basic. What else is basic? This is basic. Authentication password. Undo terminal monitor, that's basic. It's part of the basic commands. We don't have a lot here. Huh? Not a lot of basic commands, but try to figure out what are the basic device configurations that we need. Right. Step number two, display IP addresses of the current interfaces. If we display, we won't have anything, but let me just go through it. Display IP interface brief. Let's see what we have on this device. Okay, the device has not been started. As I start, well, let's just start them. It usually takes some time. That's our booter process. Right. Our device is up. So display interface brief, do we have it here? Let me just check. Yeah, we don't have display interface brief. We have it. We do have it. Voila. All right, so we can see display IP. Okay, this is interface. Do we have IP? Let me see, display IP interface. Okay, IP, we have it. This is not the same thing. IP and interface, okay, it's not the same. Right, display IP interface brief. It basically gives us the breakdown of the interfaces that we have, the addresses that are assigned, and if the link is enabled or not. So we can see Panapa, only this one link is enabled. It's physically up. Okay, it's these three links. This one is up. Which one is this one? Now 0 gigahertz interface 3. So pese panama connections, padaisa ma connections, ndo panama akanzi physical up up. But however, my protocols they are down because we haven't configured the necessary IP addresses and or to enable that. So those are check and then come back and check if we have changes up. So for IP addresses, where are they? Here are they. Router 1, 10.0.0.13.1. So how do we do this? Router 1 is the proper. So 1, 2, Kumsoro, then 3. I think I can change this. So this is router 1. Then we have router 2 here. Router 3 here. So these interfaces are required correct. They correspond to the IP addresses that we're going to get here. So on router 1.0.0.1, maybe let me just copy this to this IP address. So router 1.0.0.1, this is the IP address, system view, interface giga Ethernet 0.0. Set one, right? IP address. Oh, hey, man. Which one is this one? Delete everything there. In IP address, paste. So I can remove this. IP address young on the door is very simple. Regarding say another interface 003 is 12.1. I can use my arrows to go through the commands that I said before. So here I have 003. With practice, I think some of these things are very much simple. They just need a little bit of practice just going through them. Then trace, so router one, I'm done. Redundancy about router two. So then three net two. Then two head indoor four, I think. Indoor four. Can I remove this? A note. How do I put a note here? Stop device text. So let's say each 004. Okay, ending in 10 minutes. I think I'll be done by then, hopefully. For those who are seeing my computers, we're going to have more problems. On our computers, and you don't have okay, let's not forget this is 002. You don't have ENSP configured, we're going to have more problems because this will be very much needed and very much needed. System view, interface gig Ethernet 002. It's missing there. Interface gig Ethernet 002. Right, IP address. So 002 and those 004 here do. So let's put this one. Copy, copy this. And paste. Slash. Right, state is up. Open another interface. And now let's set this one now. So it's 12 in place of 23. 12 in place of 23. Yes, give them 3. 12, yeah, in place of 23. This interface is up. I can show display this. I can show and I say the commands that I have put there, or I can display interface, display IP interface. Right, brief. I can see my protocols angle, they are now up. The my interface that I started to. Let me stop there. Let me stop there. So there's an interface in E. Actually, let's just go all the way. Interface. Gig Ethernet, router 3, so we have 003. Address 003 on router 3 is 23.3 with this. And paste works. Now, this command line interface is actually, it sounds very friendly, more very user friendly compared to the Cisco iOS. So 23, the other one is 13. We're going to find a day, one on campus. We assess on some of these things that we traverse. Display IP, nervous brief. So these ones are up, working, done. So the step Yep, we have configured my IP addresses, edu, use the ping tool to test for connectivity. So I can test for connectivity from this router, to test connectivity on this interface, for example, 001 on router 3, excuse me, 001 on router 3, it's this address. Let's see if we can get that. If you understand your networking well, so I can ping, can I ping from any? No, 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 I cannot. So Control Z, and I can ping from here. Right, successful. Right, so if you know your networking well, you know I can be able to ping this address, but I won't be able to ping this one, Irapa 003, mainly because of we don't have routing protocols or static routing configured on the interfaces themselves. So maybe let's test for connectivity on that other interface. We're talking about routing at this point. Let me test. So 003-ish, I want to test it from R1. 003, the IP address. But router 3 is this. Let me not get the shock of my life and get a successful ping there. Should not be successful. The reason why it has to do with routing. So enter routing. The basic function here router edu is basically to perform what we call routing. Uh, how many minutes do I have? 4 minutes. If I do find time, we are going to fast track program here. I think February, March, it's a lot of time, 8 weeks, we should be able to complete. I'm banking on you having done the work already. I've seen vanhu vakatofamba zvekudaro. Ma-accounts enyano reporter, if we're using them, vanhu vanenge vakatofamba zvekutoenda. That's good. Probably panenge pachigosha ndo panenge makazomirira kuti tiite follow up and revise like we are doing. But I expect you as ndimi ma-students muri kuda ma-certificates nekupasa. I expect you kuti vanhu vaisafana kuenda kuChristmas. But if you did went for the holidays, good for you. Right. So I wanted to speak on the issue in routing. Probably very important for me to go through this. Right. So for the topology at ASA, we have my routers, router 1, Ripana. So this is router 2, this is router 3. Right. So the router 1, my networks atinokwanisa kupinga, my networks anenge ari visible from router 1 is these two interfaces are in the corresponding networks. And you realize with the network it up, the network can get at this point as well. So that's why we're able to ping this point in Rabbi. However, I cannot ping this one, network European, because it's not a directly connected network. That's where routing comes in. That's where you need to configure my static routes. I think that's where our lab is basically going. So it's a very simple concept of understanding kuti router charinoziva, the routes that a router knows are only the directly connected ones. So this network irapai in a link here, don't know router is, and also this one. and these are the directly connected interface. Those are those zero. And this one, it runs all these two. This one runs all these two. And what routing does, the routing protocols or the static routing, this router basically advertises to this router, Kutinin, I know this interface is A and B. And it also advertises to this one, and this router advertises also Arukunok, and everything is advertised. So if everything is advertised, we now know kuti route yakati kana ndichida kusvika kwakati, I have to go to this specific route, ndinozondisvitsa kwandiri kuda kusvitsa. And that's what routing is. I can see I have less than 1 minute there. Probably I'll need an extra 15 minutes, another session to just close static routing here. Any questions, if any, in the couple of seconds left? Or comments? None? Okay. Let me end this and restart.